to go into place.
Obviously, the new county government is going to give us a single leader. That single leader has to have a vision, has to have experience to make a difference.
Let me tell you what's on my mind. Our unemployment is about 10% in Cuyahoga County as an average, and that has affected a lot of people. I want more jobs, I want more jobs, and I want more jobs.
We are not going to give our jobs to people from Detroit. We're not going to give our jobs from people from New Jersey or from Philadelphia. Those jobs are going to stay here for all of our people.
So I've decided to put together a website that will be a joint operational business site, which is going to be called Cuyahoga Jobs US. The new county executive has to be somebody who is an advocate that understands business. It's not politics anymore. It's about getting the job done.
Somewhere along the line, there is a disconnect. And somehow, some way, we have to pull that together.
What you get when you get parties that get too much power, they don't work for us. What voting for me will do is to send a message, okay, to all Dems, all Republicans, all the way through the country. I can tell you today that you have a choice. There is a choice. There's a difference here. As an independent, I have no party. I have no allegiance to anybody but all of you. This is the only opportunity you're going to have in your lifetime to put an independent in to set the new government so that it works for all of you. We will work together, and I really mean that, to make Greater Cleveland the best location in the nation once again. Thank you. You know, as I've traveled around the county and I've met a lot of people, one of the most important questions on their mind is, how am I going to bring jobs here? I mean, what's different between me and the politicians that they've had in the past that have always promised about getting jobs? So I've decided to put together a website that will be a joint operational business site, which is going to be called Cuyahoga Jobs US. In business, the important thing is that we have to find out what our assets are first before we can create an income model. All of the unemployed and all of the underemployed could register on this site and register their education and their skill set.
When Ken came to me with the idea about creating a job website for the county, I thought, what a great idea. His concept that he shared with me was the idea to create a website to allow different county residents to go in, record their job skills, their abilities, and so on, to use this type of information to talk to different employers around the country and to bring additional jobs to the county.
This site will have all of the physical assets that we have in Cuyahoga County. Every property, every commercial property, its description, along with all of the available vacant land that we have in Cuyahoga County.
The other aspect of the site that Ken shared with me was his idea to have a repository of all available buildings and land in the county.
When I'm able to determine specifically what those physical assets are and the human assets, then we can identify companies that are outside our region, and we can go to get them and bring them to Greater Cleveland and Cuyahoga County. Once I decided that that was the direction I wanted to go, I contacted Rick Spector. Rick is our president of Consolidated Technologies Group, and Rick's ability to be able to create and to implement is wonderful.
I've been working with Ken for about 3 years now. It's been an interesting process from the beginning. Ken and I jointly set a vision, and Ken's done a great job in helping to execute that vision, taking something from a concept to reality. And it's my assumption when you look at Ken's role as county executive, I really view that he'll create the vision and then execute that vision in a way that will benefit all of us.
We have over $6 billion of projects that have been already financed and approved. And those projects are going to be starting here in the next several months. And what is really important is that we're able to leverage that $6 billion into $10 billion or $12 billion. People have often asked me, what do I mean by leverage? Well, leveraging means if you take the casino that we've already had approved, all right, to be built, and when it's built, we have something, okay, that more people are going to want to come to. When you take something that's already been planned and you make it greater, casino, hotel suppliers. If we can bring the hotel suppliers closer to our needs, that's leverage. Medical Mart and all of the support services that go along with Medical Mart. Companies that support those services, we go out and try to get them closer. And that is what I've done all my life, is to be able to take assets and leverage them. And there's no difference, okay, in doing it here or doing it in business.
Seize the moment.
So I wanted to go to college. I wanted to become a doctor. And that quickly went by the wayside based on family needs.
When you were a kid, you were on welfare, is that correct?
Well, my parents were, yes.
Okay.
They were on what was called relief at the time. I was born in Cleveland 60 years ago on East 110th and Woodland. My parents lived in the projects. They were on relief. We're at 110th and Woodland, and these are the projects that I grew up in. When I was 19, I took over the company. My father, who wasn't the greatest worker, but was a wonderful artist, and hence the term starving artist, he never really understood the value of what he had, and he wasn't ambitious enough to really create any value with it. He had gotten into graphic arts by happenstance and then went bankrupt, and so, that's what I ended up doing, is working in the graphic arts area.
I grew up with Ken. We've been friends for over 45 years. I could remember when we were about 15 years old taking the bus from Maple Heights all the way downtown to work at Ken's father's printing company.
So with a very good stroke of luck, he had a partner, a minority partner, who was a lawyer. I had some very good people throughout my life that helped mentor me. Knowledgeable businessman. One was a lawyer, Stan Eulish. And he taught me business. He taught me my first turnaround. And so at 19, the lawyer and I did the first turnaround for the company at the time. Was called Offset Color.
I met Ken when I was about 13 years old through my father, Stanley Eulish. My father was the lawyer and a partner in Ken's father's printing business called Offset Color. Now, the printing business was having trouble at the time financially, and Ken was asked to take over the business. My father mentored Ken through this process, helping him with the necessary business skills to create a successful business, but Ken worked very, very hard and pulled it off, and the business became quite successful. And the rest is history here.
Well, over the next 3 years, I built a successful company, and I took care of my parents.
Growing up with Ken was pretty unusual. Most of the time you didn't see him. He was always so involved with whatever he tried to do or whatever business he was in. He was always, business and family was always first.
During that time, it was family first and figuring out how to take care of my first family, and then I got married to Linda when we were 20.
I remember when I first met Ken, we were both working at Federal Department Store in Lee and Harvard. He was the porter and worked in, besides the porter, he worked in shoes and in housewares, and I worked in ladies sportswear, and had met him there. And we also attended Maple Heights High School together.
He was, well, my mom used to kind of like refer to him that his friends would call him the old man, that he was the more responsible one of his group of friends. Where everybody else would have the tendency to be goofing off and stuff like that, Kenny was the one that was the responsible one.
Okay, here we are at 116th and Benham, as you can see, and little did I know, talk about small world. I was born here in Cleveland. My wife was born in Cleveland, and I moved right around the corner to 117th Street, and she lived right here in this apartment building that her grandfather owned, and it was the Von Haas Cafe. And Linda actually moved out about a year before I moved in. Our paths almost crossed then, and then ultimately did pass in Maple Heights. So we're both from the same area of Cleveland, and it's his home.
He had asked me out on a date, and I had accepted it, and we went for a couple dates we had gone, and then we went our separate ways. And then at age 17, he approached me again, and we got married at the age 20, Ken and I.
Ken and Linda had this relationship. It's like puppy love 40 years later, and they just adore each other. And you could tell by the way they look at each other. They have this glow about them when they're talking to each other.
He was already working full-time in the family business at the age of 18. And at that time, the family business was failing. He went out and got the business for the company, turned it around with all his knowledge and understanding, and also great people that helped him mentor in the business.
My so-called graphics father is here, Don Morlock, who I met when I was 13. He taught me the business, and when I say he taught me the business, he not only taught it, but he gave me the business because I was the boss's son. But he did a great job, and I became the best at what I did in the graphic arts, and it was because of him.
I have to say, I think I was hard on him. Probably worked a lot harder on him than most people because I wanted him to know what it was to really work hard. He started off in the bindery. Even today, if there's any problems, he'll go back there and tuck his tie away and start working on the folder.
Ken's work ethics are exceptional. When he takes a project on, he starts, he'll research it, he'll follow through, and he'll finish the project.
I worked for Ken Lansing now for 23 years. Took the company from a small, very small bindery to what it is today.
One of the things that my father always told me was, you have to work. You got to work. And no matter what it is, the way out is work.
He's been really good at turning businesses around. I've seen over the years that he's bought businesses even and brought them back. Knows what he's doing when it comes to turning things around. My son-in-law needed a job. He said, have him come on down and put him into bindery and had him work for him. And now he's working in die cutting rather than just in bindery. So he helps out, whether it be just work or personal. He's a very good person.
It's just been great watching him progress through the years. He keeps doing more and more, and sometimes you wonder if 24 hours in a day is enough.
3 years ago, I died. I had a massive coronary and cardiac arrest, and I was the only place I could be to survive. The grace of God, good work by the doctors, nurses, they brought me back. Everybody would say, there's more for you to do. Fast forward. Last year, corruption in the county, issue 6 comes up. I read all about it just like most of you. A friend said, you know what, I think you should do that job. And I said, no, I don't do politics. There's no way I'm doing that job. And then one morning I woke up and I said, maybe that's exactly what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm supposed to commit the next 5 years of my life to give back for the greater good.
Quite often people will say to me, well, why do you live in Cleveland? Why are you, still in Ohio? There's a lot of places that I could live, and quite honestly, I'm not leaving Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. It's where my family's at, it's where my friends are. I've been here my entire life. Hopefully, I'll be able to make a difference here to be able to keep my grandchildren here. We're committed here. We're going to be here the rest of our lives. We may travel around, but we're going to be here. And I believe that, my grandchildren will have the opportunity to stay here as well.
Then it's gone.
Paid for by Citizens for Ken Lansing, Joseph Casaro, Treasurer.